Most live streams fail for one reason. It's your internet connection. So aside from making sure that your production computer system is connected to the internet by an Ethernet cable, so it's hardwired, but you're still only relying on one internet connection. What if we could combine more than one connection and bond multiple together so they're fully redundant? In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Speedify. This is the #1 application and platform that all content creators need to use, whether you're going live to YouTube, to Instagram, to TikTok, LinkedIn, or even if you are using Zoom. Sending a live video feed over the internet doesn't just require a fast internet connection. In fact, it doesn't really matter how fast it is. You may only have about 20 to 25 megabits per second upload, and that's completely okay. What matters is the consistency and the quality of that connection. But if those packets stop getting sent, or if they're highly delayed, then your viewers are going to see some buffering. So here you can see Ecamm Live. I'm about ready to go live. This is going to be a 1080p unlisted stream to my YouTube channel. Over here is the bandwidth statistics window. This is going to be very useful for people who are going to any video places and destinations like YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, RTMP connections, but not for Zoom users. You won't need that window. But the most important thing you'll need out of all of this stuff is the Speedify application. So you can see here, out of the box, it's not enabled just yet, but it's very simple. All you have to do is click on this little toggle button and Speedify will automatically connect to their servers. So I've been streaming for a few minutes now and you can see I'm just using one connection, which is my Ethernet connection to my cable provider. You can see in the bandwidth meter below, everything looks great. Now, the easiest way to add an additional connection is through a Wi-Fi hotspot. So I have my iPhone here and I just have to enable the hotspot setting here and simply just go over to Wi-Fi and enable it on this Mac. Now by default, it may connect to the exact same network that your Ethernet connection is connected to, but that's not truly redundant. You need to connect to a second internet source. So this one's going to be connected to my iPhone. So now that's going to connect automatically, and you'll see here in the Speedify window, we now have 2 connections. And my stream is uninterrupted. It's still going completely fine, but you'll see here over these 2 numbers, the Speedify app is now using both the Ethernet connection as well as the Wi-Fi hotspot connection. So let's just take a look here and see what happens when I pull this Ethernet connection. I want you to keep looking at that bar below for the bandwidth meter. And now I'm going to pull the Ethernet, and now that's dead. It is gone. And you can see here the connection while Speedify said, ooh, you know, we just lost a connection and now it's only over Wi-Fi. Okay, here we go. Now my connection is going into the yellow side a little bit, but now it's corrected. So my cell phone connection has resolved the issue and is completely redundant. My YouTube stream is still going live. So now let's do something here. Let's put that Thunderbolt connection back, the Ethernet connection back, and Speedify automatically detects it and it says, okay, we've just corrected the situation. Everything is back to normal. I did not drop my stream at all. It didn't even buffer. Okay, so now, let's make this even better. Let's say, for example, you are in a situation where your connection for your cell phones is not that great in your office. Well, add a second cellular connection easily. Now, I pay $35 extra for about 110 or 125 gigabytes of data, and it's all hotspotable over here in Canada. It's very close in the United States as well. But I have that running on this Android phone. Now, to connect this guy to the same Mac computer, all I have to do is run my USB tethering hotspot. So just go over to Settings, Hotspot and Tethering, and enable this little box here. It's for USB tethering. And you will see in a couple of seconds, boom, Speedify now sees a 3rd network connection. And you can see it's using all 3 of them. And at the same time, Ecamm Live did not blink at all on this upstream bandwidth. It is completely running A-OK. So now let's pull this network connection again and see how Ecamm Live and my live stream to YouTube works. You can see that Speedify now sees that the Ethernet connection is gone, but Ecamm Live has not skipped a beat. It is still running. And that's the power of Speedify. Now, there is another way to run your Speedify phones. You don't necessarily have to use the Wi-Fi hotspot or the USB tethering. So let's reconnect our Thunderbolt Ethernet connection. And let's now disable USB tethering on the Android phone. And let's also disable hotspot. Okay, so the hotspot on the Android is also dead. Now, Speedify goes back to the single Ethernet connection. My internet speed or my live stream to YouTube still has not dropped a single frame at all. Everything is A-OK, and nobody is seeing any buffering or hesitations on their stream. So all I have to do on the Android phone here is I have to go over to the Speedify app. Now, I've got this set as primary, and all I have to do is enable what's called pair and share. So now you can see here on the Mac computer, your device has been automatically paired. And now all I have to do is I have to enable Speedify on the cell phone and make sure that it's on the same Wi-Fi network as this Mac. So through this pair and share feature, now this Android phone is running Speedify over the Wi-Fi network and the cellular network, and it's sharing that internet connection with this Mac directly over the network. Now you will need this Mac to be on Wi-Fi as well. So you can see here I've got my Ethernet connection. It's got Wi-Fi to that same network, but that is also paired up with this Android phone. And that's what this connection over here is. Now let's do the exact same thing on our iPhone here. I'm just going to open up Speedify on the iPhone, and you can see it's also connected to the Wi-Fi connection here. And all of a sudden, okay, great. Now the connection on the iPhone is also running through pair and share. And you can see here on the Mac, there it is. There's the iPhone connection now as well. So what ends up happening is the pair and share devices on this iPhone and this Android phone, they're available to any computer system that's on the network that is running Speedify. So it's kind of like this little bit of a mesh network, and everything is completely redundant as well. So now let's go back, and you can see here the bandwidth meter has not changed throughout this entire video. I'm going to now unplug the Ethernet connection, and that has now disappeared. And so now Speedify is figuring out, okay, now I got to use these other connections that are through pair and share. So you could technically have 5 or 10 different cell phones that are on Speedify on the Wi-Fi network using pair and share. And you can see here, while there was a little bit of a hesitation when I pulled that network connection, Speedify still kept the connection live, and I'm still streaming without any buffering at all. So now both of these phones are running. So this is a really great way for you to run quickly and easily multiple cell phone connections without any wires, and you can grab other people's cell phones as well and pair them with the same computer system. Now the following is a little bit more advanced, and it does require a little bit of hardware, but if you are a complete tech geek and you want to run Speedify over all of your computer systems in your network, and you don't want to run the applications because you might only have, a license for one desktop computer, well then you may be interested in getting the Speedify for Routers license, which starts at $30-something per month or a few $100s a year for 1 terabyte of bandwidth per month. And what this does is it runs on a router, and that router is connected to the main connection as well as your other redundant connections, and then that feeds the rest of your network. Now, if you've got a Raspberry Pi device, you can completely create and use that running Speedify, but here is a GL-iNet Barrel AX MT3000 device, which only is about $100 or so, and I used to use this a lot in my travels when I used to go to hotels because I could use this as a Wi-Fi repeater. So I would buy one high-speed connection from the hotel, connect this to it, and then this would distribute that connection to all of my devices inside of my hotel room. But now you can install Speedify directly on this unit and then have this distribute that redundant connection throughout all of the devices on your network. So let's take a look. So please keep in mind the following is going to be pretty advanced, but it is really easy once you figure things out. Essentially what's going to happen is this device here is going to capture all of my network connections, and then the output is going to send the network connection, a redundant connection, to all of the computer systems inside the network. So the stuff that's connected to this red cable. So that could be a switch or it could be a Wi-Fi connection as well. Now I'm going to attach an Ethernet connection, a Wi-Fi connection, as well as a cell phone connection, or maybe even 2, to this device. But in order to do that, because it only has one USB connection on the back, you're going to need something like this. Now this is a little USB hub. It can actually send power over the main connection, and that's going to be important because there are going to be multiple devices connected to this, and the tiny little USB power coming out of this guy is not going to be enough. So we're just going to use this as the USB connection to this little hub. Now this one is the Uni USB hub, which is phenomenal. It's maybe $50 to $70, and link is in the description. So this Uni comes with a USB-C to USB-C cable, so I actually need to convert this to USB-A on the back of this device here. So let's connect these two together, and then this guy is going to connect to the back of the MT3000. And then in addition to that, I need to supply some power. So this power here is going to be supplied by USB-C to USB-C. So on one end, I'm going to plug that into a power source. And then on the other end, I'm going to plug that into the USB-C port on the side of this uni device. So what ends up happening is now this is the data cable, and this over here is going to be the power supply cable to power whatever is connected to this. All right, so now let's go take a quick look at the device. You can see here there still is nothing connected to it, and let's now connect an Ethernet connection. And this would be like your main internet line, so that's going to be connected in there. And you can see here it's connecting. It's going to grab an IP address in a couple of seconds, and there we go. So now we have one connection in this device. The second connection, I'm going to connect my iPhone by, let's do this by Hotspot. All right, so this one's over Hotspot, so I'm going to add a repeater connection here. And there is this guy. We'll actually have to enable hotspotting here. All right, so it remembered that cell phone connection. It's now connecting to this iPhone. And the third connection is going to be this cell phone connection on the Android, and this is going to be connected by USB. So let's just get that cable connected to this little USB hub. So now let's go over to settings. We're going to go to hotspot and tethering, and we're going to enable USB tethering. So now you can see here there's going to be a new tethering device that's found here, and we're going to now connect to that. And so now we've got 3 different connections. Now this Wi-Fi connection can be to the facility, the hotel, whatever that is. Same thing with your network or Ethernet connection, but I'm just going to pretend that you're using this for your studio or your home office. So you can see here we have 3 connections now, and I'm going to click on the VPN tab and go over to Speedify. And now by default, I have Speedify enabled or connected directly once this thing is powered up. But you can see here I have all 3 connections running on Speedify completely redundantly. So now on this Mac there's no Speedify app running. It in fact is just getting one internet connection from this router. This is again the Barrel AX MT3000, and it's running Speedify, and it has 3 network connections. So these 3 connections allow this stream to stay stable. You can see that the stream is still going, but I can just go ahead and disconnect the Ethernet cable, and you can see that the stream on Ecamm Live going to YouTube continuously stays, and the new connections over here, there's only 2 of them left, but Ecamm Live is still running smoothly. And that is the magic of using Speedify for routers. Speedify is one of my favorite apps that I recommend to all of my clients and my customers who are live streaming or going to Zoom, because at the end of the day, your connection is only as strong as your weakest link. So if you're looking to use Speedify for your setup, go ahead and use the link in the description below. You'll get 70% off of a 2-year subscription. Happy streaming. We'll see you guys in the next video.